Very nice. Welcome. It's so great to have you here. Who is so excited that it feels like their very first time? Me too. I have been in the NeoLIFE family now for 28 years, working for the company for 8. I'm a NeoLIFE baby. But I have to say that there has never been a more exciting time to be doing what we are doing. Never. And now, it's important to get excited about what we're doing, right? Yeah. But I also think in reality, it's not that difficult to get excited. Like sometimes we get excited about something that isn't really backed up by facts. It's not real. But that's what I want to address this morning. I think as leaders, as people who are out there sharing changing lives, it's important to know the facts, the incredibly strong facts that are backing up what it is that we are doing. And the facts behind why there's never been a better time to be doing what we're doing, and also why NeoLIFE is the business of the future. Around the world, and also right here in North America. So I think we're living in a really significant period of history right now. We are in the age of the entrepreneur. We're living in the age of the entrepreneur. We're seeing this word getting thrown around all over the place. It's now, I guess you could call it, trending. And the latest statistics show that there are now 27 million entrepreneurs in the US. This is from the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. And that is a record high for what they've seen. So why is that? Why are we seeing more and more people starting their own small businesses? Well, I think we can look at a couple recent headlines to find out. This is something that recently came out in March. There was a survey, 21% of working Americans are not saving anything at all. That doesn't sound very positive. And then there was another one I just found, why Americans won't be taking summer vacation. Why do you think? Well, it turns out that 4% of people just don't want to. They must work for NeoLIFE. Having too much fun. But 50%, half of them, just simply can't afford it. And here's one more. This is reported by CBS News from Bankrate. A $500 surprise expense would put most Americans into debt. Can you guess the percentage of Americans that fall into this category? Oh, we heard some high ones, some low ones. 57%. A surprise expense would put them into debt of just $500. And now, I think what's happening is more and more people are looking at their paychecks, and they're asking, like, where's the money at? And the fact is that the average American that's living today is being denied the opportunity for economic freedom in their traditional 9-to-5 job. Would you agree that that's true? Yeah. And, they're saying that's not fair. They're recognizing that's not fair. They're saying, I want to travel too. I want to take a vacation with my family. I want to be able to spend more time with my children, make a difference, live a life of purpose. And people are realizing that the only way to take control of their financial future is to take control of their income source, right? And so you really have two options, I would say. Number one, ask your boss for a raise. Good luck. Or number two, start your own business. And did you know, though, I think some of you have seen this statistic, that 9 out of 10 traditional business startups fail, 90%. And for example, if you start like a restaurant or a shop or tech startup, whatever you want to say, it's actually pretty expensive to start. The latest numbers are showing an average in America or United States of $80,000 just to get started, to open your doors and have a product to sell. That's kind of high. And you probably won't earn a profit in the first 3 to 5 years. Not many of us can take that kind of a financial risk. I was actually just at a conference with my dad. It's called the Milken Conference. And we watched this panel. It was a panel of businesses who had received startup funding from one of the biggest capital funds in the world. And each of them had received $1 billion. With a B, billion. And what surprised me was that the people that were on stage on this panel, they were asking for 2 or 3 billion more. Now, that might work for a few very unique people. But what about the rest of us who just want to have some success and don't want to risk everything in the process? Who want to, at the same time, still be able to put food on the table? And whether it's $80,000 or $1 billion, I mean, that is a lot of money to lose when this failure rate is here. A company called CB Insights, they did a study that was looking at the number one reason for business failure. Do you know what it was? A lack of market need for their product or service. People just didn't want what they were selling. It was that simple. Almost half. And the second reason was because they run out of money. It takes too long to make a profit. And I think herein lies the huge opportunity with NeoLIFE. For just a fraction of the cost, you can start your own business, and there is no limit on where you can take it. There are examples in this very room that prove that. We are transforming the world of startups. Because let's face it, the world needs a solution like this. And I mean, when I think of what we have to offer, I get so excited. Do you think that people would be interested in an opportunity where in the first couple of months, they could be earning an extra $1,200 a month part-time? And helping people? Yeah. That's what we offer as a NeoLIFE director. And it might not happen in 2 months, but if you can reach director, let's see a show of hands. Who's our directors? Yeah. Nice. If we can do what you guys did, there's nothing that should stop us from showing another person how to do that. Become a Sapphire director, and that would double your income. Pretty exciting. I know this is possible, by the way, because that is how I got started in this business, was as a promoter. And I can remember what it was like, what I was like back then, and I can tell you that I would have been the last person I would bet on to have success in this business. Truly. I was so shy. I think some of you have witnessed the really, I guess, painful presentations that I did in the beginning up here. If you have video, please delete it. But I was so shy. I mean, just talking to a stranger, I would turn bright red in the face like a tomato and start to sweat. It was ugly. So much so that I figured out in the very beginning of building my business that if I were to wear yoga pants and like workout clothes, when I'd be going out and talking to people, then it helped a lot because they figured I'd just gotten back from a really tough workout when I was like, But that kind of stuff really doesn't matter when you have the kind of support that we have as part of the NeoLIFE family, when you have the training, and when you have the community that wants to get behind you and help you succeed. None of that matters. You're in business for yourself, but never, ever by yourself. And I reached Sapphire Director in 9 months, but as I travel the world, I see so many people doing it faster. And that's exciting, right? Now, if you can do that, what's to stop you from building 2 more directors? So you have 3, you build a 1 Ruby business. Our numbers show a 1 Ruby earns an average of $3,000 a month extra in income. Or build 6 directors and come up to the president's team. Who wants to be a president's team? I see here in the front Louis and Laverne Smith, our 1 diamonds. Their monthly income, their monthly check is, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. It's too big. I saw those eyes you were giving me, Laverne. And don't get me wrong, building a diamond business like they've built, it's not typical. It's not average, but it is possible. And not everyone's going to take it to the top, but that's okay, right? I mean, there's so many people who just need an extra $500 or $1,000 a month. As a disclaimer, we have a statement of average earnings that's available on the website, and that gives full transparency into exactly what people are earning. I invite you to check it out because I think you'll really be positively surprised. And so, okay, we talked about the need for money. Huge need, right? But what about the need for our products? Do people really need our products? Yes. You are correct. We provide superior solutions to huge marketplace needs, some of the biggest needs out there. I mean, if you think about it, will people ever stop needing a solution to better health, to lose weight, to have beautiful, healthy skin, or to be able to clean your home with products that are safe and earth-friendly? No, I don't think so. And if we just look at one of those categories, nutrition, it is absolutely booming. We looked yesterday in the World Team meeting at some statistics where the wellness industry is the fastest and largest sector in our market, in the direct selling market, the wellness industry. It's like 43%, I think. And US supplement sales are projected to reach $57 billion by 2024. That's pretty big, 57 billion. And there's still room for growth. I love the story that my father tells of when he was first building his business. When he first got into our industry, he would share with people, this was over 60 years ago, he would share with people that there's going to be a time when supplements are as common as salt and pepper on the dinner table. That's pretty visionary, right? And we're getting there. 3 out of 4 people are now using a daily dietary supplement, nutrition supplement. But there's still room to go. And also, I mean, if we look at the health statistics that are happening in the world right now, we've seen them. Chronic disease, all these bad things. If we look at those and then we compare that to the number of people using supplements, it doesn't make sense, right? It's like, why are we seeing people's health get worse if they're taking all this nutrition? Well, I think I know the answer. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, like 99.999. They're taking the wrong supplements. But the good news is people are getting more and more educated about the need for good nutrition. Passionate people, like you in this room, are helping them get there. And we're even seeing leading health authorities put their name behind their findings that good nutrition really can make an impact on our health. This is a quote that I found on the website from the CDC. You can read that yourself. Pretty cool. So we have a huge opportunity here. Huge. To help people stop wasting their money on things that are cheap and ineffective and start taking something that actually works. Now, there was also, I don't know if you heard about the new study that came out. It was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It was on April 3rd, and it was looking at the health effects of dietary risks in 193 countries. And so they revealed the top risk factors for diet-related death. I think the heading was, "What you aren't eating might be killing you." So, do you know what the number one was in the US? Yes, you've seen the study. It was a lack of whole grains was the number one cause for diet-related death. And what was interesting is it wasn't because they weren't eating, quote unquote, whole grains, but it was that the sources that they were getting lacked the nutritional value that was necessary for health. And then, low intake of fruits and vegetables, omega-3s, and nuts and seeds were also among the top 10. Does that ring a bell? Ding. Pro Vitality and NeoLIFE Bar literally have the power to bridge this gap for all of these. That's what we've been saying for over 60 years, and mainstream science is finally catching up. Good job. But I think we're going to see a lot more of this in areas like, mental health, gut health, the microbiome, and we are seeing so much more. There are so many examples. I could keep us here all morning, but I'm not going to go into that. I think it's evident, it's very clear that there is such a huge need for what we offer. And now there's never been a better time to be doing what we're doing because of this. And what about into the future? Do you think that there's going to be a need for these things in the future? Well, NeoLIFE is the business of the future, and I want to go into a couple of those reasons. So, the Organization for, let me try to get this right, Economic Cooperation and Development, mouthful, they recently released a study showing that nearly half of jobs are vulnerable to automation. Half of jobs. What does that mean? That means that more than half of the jobs that exist today are going to be replaced by a robot in the next 5 to 10 years. That's the timeline they're predicting, 5 to 10 years. It's probably not going to look like R2-D2. But what's worse is that most people lack the skills to shift into the jobs of tomorrow. And let's be realistic. So it was easy to see, like back in the day, where you could take a worker that was in the industrial plants, and like they could shift into a supermarket, right? They could do retail. It's not a really hard jump. But what about now retail, or those kind of blue-collar jobs, shifting into artificial intelligence? A little harder. And then let's be real, do you really think 40, 50, 60-plus-year-olds are going to want to go back to school for another 4 years of college to get retrained on the skills they're going to need? I don't think so. So you're really left with a couple options then. Number one, you can wait on the government. They might put in some skills training programs. We hear mention of that sometimes. Good luck. Or you can take control of your future. You can find an opportunity that's going to teach you the skills that will help us be successful into the future. And now, earlier this year, I saw an Instagram post by Bill Gates, and he showed this book. It was called 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, was one of them. He had a whole stack of books he suggested, but I picked that one. And now, I mentioned we can see how blue-collar jobs can shift, and we can see how they can be replaced by robots, right? Like a cashier, you can have someone check you out, or a truck driver, we have self-driving vehicles. But he took it another step further. He asked the question, what happens when an artificial intelligence robot can give you a full health screening and even detect cancer? They're going to be hundreds of times more accurate than any human being can. He goes on to predict that even doctors are going to be replaced by robots. That's pretty scary, isn't it? But there's a huge but. Not this one. All of these people go on to say that there's one thing that will never be replaced by a robot. Do you know what it is? Human connection. The Bank of England's chief economist, his name's Andy Haldane, he was recently quoted. He was warning us that huge masses of people are going to become technologically unemployed in the near future. But he also said this: jobs that focus on skills of human interaction, face-to-face conversation, and negotiation would be likely to flourish. Skills of human interaction. Not even the best universities in the world can give you the kind of education and real-life experience on human interaction than you can get as part of the NeoLIFE family. The other thing that all these experts writing about this topic are saying is that the biggest fear lingering is that when all this happens, we're going to see a generation of people who experience a loss of purpose. Can you think of a better cure for purpose? I can say cure in this context. Can you think of a better cure for purpose than being a part of NeoLIFE, this family? I certainly cannot. We are perfectly positioned to take this into the next 60 plus years, be a part of a business of the future. And as a company, I want to let you know that we are investing into the future. We're investing millions of dollars into industry-leading technology and platforms. We're investing millions of dollars into product research and development to make sure that we're the best. And we're going to continue to invest into events like this, into the things that lift up our NeoLIFE family, so that we can remain perfectly positioned. And so none of this might have been new information to you. I don't know. But why did I want to go over that this morning at the start of convention? I don't know. No. I think it's because it's so important to our success that as leaders, we know why we're doing what we're doing, and that we feel confident in being able to reach out to other people to make an impact on them, to be confident to share our stories, and the stories of the people you're going to hear about today to prove that this opportunity, who prove that this opportunity work. And I want to just close with mentioning one more thing. Do you guys know this guy? I don't know him personally, but this is Galileo. So in 1632, he came out with a book. I'm sure you've heard of it. In this book, he challenged the way that we view the universe. And what he proposed was that the earth revolves around the sun. Wow. That was contrary to what most people believed at the time, right? They thought it was the opposite. And they thought the sun revolved around the earth. And when we look back at that, it almost feels silly, doesn't it? It's like, of course we know that's true. But it was really revolutionary at the time. And what led to his discovery was that he built a special telescope, and it was bigger and more powerful, and it allowed him to see what other people couldn't. He was able to see what other people couldn't. And I think sometimes we see things that other people don't see, even when the evidence is there, even when we know it's true. And as leaders, we need to be able to paint that picture for people, to help them get a bigger telescope so that they can see the truth, so that they can see that NeoLIFE is a company, is a family that can change their lives, that NeoLIFE is the business of the future. And I want to say thank you for being a part of that, because together we will be the single biggest force behind ending the trend of poor health and poverty.